You had an interesting statement to the Detroit News recently. Let's just take a little look at what you told the journalism there. It's almost as if the Bad Boys became the people's choice, not necessarily the institutional choice.
Facts. We
became the people's champ. Still today, it goes Bird, Magic, and then it goes Jordan, and it's almost as if we didn't exist.
Yeah.
Do you care to extrapolate on that a little bit for us?
No, that's just real talk.
It's all right there.
Yeah. And when I say we the people's choice, the only reason why the Pistons and the Bad Boys are still alive today in terms of popular thought or interjected into conversation, it's only because of the people. You know, when you look at, the writers who have written, or the historians who have written about the NBA, they have, I don't know if it's conscious or unconscious, but it seems like it's pretty conscious that they just skip over an era that we thoroughly dominated in. And, we say we won, people say we won 2 championships. We say we won 3.
Oh.
We were the first team to really three-peat because we really got hoes.
Oh, that Kareem foul?
Kareem foul. Come on.
I know what play you're talking about.
We really got hoes.
Yes.
So I look at it and say we're the first team in that era to win 3. And when you talk about our era in terms of dominant basketball, that Celtics team, that 86, 85 team that the Celtics and the Lakers had, those 2 teams arguably are like, one top 3 teams that ever played. Well, those are the teams that we were beating. I'm just going to leave it right there.
But and also, who else was in the league at that time? Jordan, Magic, Bird. Like, the 80s embody what people feel like are the golden era of basketball. You guys not only were dominant throughout the regular season and the playoffs, but y'all won back-to-back championships. And so that, as a fan, always frustrated me because I felt like you felt like, wait a minute, they're skipping over us. I didn't know if it was because we were Detroit and we didn't have the flash of Showtime, or we didn't have the grit that people felt like the Celtics have, or we didn't have Air Jordan. Like, why do you feel like that happened?
I feel like what we represented in Detroit in terms of our authenticity, in terms of what we were about, the league they were trying to market, the Lakers and the Celtics, and subliminally they were playing the race card. The Celtics was, they and everybody knew they was playing the race. And then we stepped on the scene, and we were so authentic that I don't think the league really knew how to handle us, because we were talking about race, class, and gender, and they wanted to keep it quiet, but yet that's what they were marketing at that period of time in terms of, the 2 teams playing against each other, so forth and so on. And so when we stepped on, they didn't know what to do, so I think they just kind of wanted to push that aside. And the other thing that I thought, that we were so innovative. We were the first team to really start wearing another jersey. So that shooting jersey, that third color.
Yeah.
The Pistons were the first team. We went to the silver and black. Now everybody has a black uniform. I think the Jets just came out with a black uniform.
Had an airplane.
We were the first team to get a plane. We were the first team to upgrade our hotels. So, the changes that we implemented in the league, owners definitely didn't like that. They had to pay the players more. They had to put them in better living conditions. They had to make them travel better. And then when we went to the third uniform, which is now, and I said this to you earlier, Jalen, there's only 2 teams in sport that I can think of that has a name outside of their traditional name. When you talk about the Pistons, then there's another brand called the Bad Boys. When you talk about, Michigan basketball team, then there's another brand called the Fab Five. And we're the only 2 teams that I can think of that still has that 30 years later.
So in the moment, are you 2 cognizant of the marketability of that brand, that you're creating something that could potentially be profited off by corporations in the moment?
I know we wasn't trying to profit off of it. We wasn't thinking about making money off of it. We were just thinking about what our identity was and who we would be. And we wanted it to be something that represented us. Fortunately enough for us, it has stood the test of time. just like the Fab Five has stood the test of time. And those two brands really are the people's choice. Those are the two brands that people just gravitate to. Nobody really, owns them per se. Mm-hmm. It's just, this is what the people like and this is what the people want. You got to get the people what the people
need. What do you think when you have the remote control in your hand and you're watching League Pass? And of course, Dwayne Wade, as a Hall of Famer, should be saluted, and he deserves a jersey exchange. But what do you feel about the outward camaraderie that players have for the opponent in public versus the era when you played?
I feel like since so much was made about what happened to the Pistons by not shaking hands, mm-hmm. I think everybody now goes way beyond to be politically correct. Mm-hmm. And every now and then you may have one player, like a couple of times LeBron James walked off the floor and he didn't shake anybody's hands. But I think everybody else goes way beyond now to be politically correct because nobody wants the backlash.
Isiah, thank you so much for coming by. You are in the studio on the wall every single day, but anytime you want to join us in person, you're welcome to come back.
You got to give the people, give the people what they want.